So back when I did all of the melt and pour videos for the recipes and the testing and explaining to you why melt and pour soap is a thing, how it becomes a thing, the importance of solvents, how you can manipulate things, all the things, I ended up making a lot of melt and pour base. And I don't use a lot of melt and pour base. So I decided to go ahead and incorporate that into my fall line in really cool, weird, fun ways. And I'm going to show you that really cool, weird, fun way today. But I have to send you to the intro because that's what I do. Get it? So I'm going to send you there. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 341 of 365 days of soap. And today, as I said, we are incorporating melt and pour soaps into cold process soaps, and we're making hybrid soaps, but not like confetti soaps where we just like put a little bit in or like a little topper, a proper hybrid soap. So my thinking on all of this, because I've been so obsessed with epoxy pores and all the things of late in general, right, was a layer of cold process, kind of sculpted in a way, and then an equal layer of glycerin soap on top, and then another layer of cold process soap to sandwich it together and create like an epoxy type, geode type thing. This is my thinking. And mica lines. Like all the things. And so, I don't know. This could go all kinds of different ways. But let's get to the video and we can talk about the process and all of the jazz, you know, where we always do the thing in the video. Oh my God, I am so excited to show you guys these soaps and use these scents. Because I got some really good scents from Sierra Candles for the fall line. And like this one, the driftwood and sea salt. So amazing. Delightful. It's perfect. It's so like non-gendered and just delightful. You remember last year when I did the like mystical collection from them and did the smoke whisperer and moonlight crystals and all those things? Yeah, I am as excited for this year's line as I was last year. Actually, maybe a little bit more excited because only 2 of the scents that I picked discolor. And last year, I think all of them did. And so all of my, you know, mystical soaps had to be dark, which was fun. It was really fun. We ended up doing a really cool theme with it and they smelled delightful. That one, the moonlight crystals, I think that one's still my favorite. Anyway, we are making geode epoxy crystal soaps. You know, it's like something like that, really. Like the epoxy pours that I always do and talk about and have done a couple on the channel, actually. But we're doing it in soap form and we're using clear melt and pour glycerin soap for the middle portion. And so this portion here is, you know, the first layer to get put down. And since this driftwood and sea salt does not discolor, I get to do it white. And so that's exciting. And I will be using, I think I showed you poppycock for the mica lines because I'm doing mica lines. And then, you know, something for the middle. I probably showed you that too. If I didn't, I'm going to. But for the glycerin, it's going to be like a greeny blue is my thinking. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good time. But in case anyone wondered, this is a brambleberry mold, as you can see. And this mold is set to hold, I don't know, between 50 and 54 ounces. I don't quite remember what it says on the website. But in case anyone was wondering, that what I did with all of this is I had 10 and a half ounces of oil, right? For the first pour there at a 5% super fat. And then obviously whatever your water and lye is, depending on how you do your lye and what oils you use, you get it. And so that's about 16 ounces of total soap weight before, it loses its water weight. And then that's for each section. So 16 ounces of melt and pour goes on top of this, which I'm sculpting and creating like lines in. So the melt and pour will go into it. And then another pour of melt and pour or of cold process on top of that using the same measurements. So again, 10 and a half ounces of oil and then your scents and your lye solution, all that jazz. Yes. And I did the sculpting for the bottom part here because I want the melt and pour to sort of dip into pieces of the cold process. And I thought that was the best way to do it. Just stab some, things into the cold process, and then the very fluid melt and pour will go into those crevasses and create a very interesting bar when it's all said and done, is my thinking. Enchanted Forest. That's what I used for the middle part. But honestly, looking at that poppycock and how beautiful of a copper that is, I really think that I should be going more blue-y than Enchanted Forest delivers. Maybe like Astro from Mad Micah or Tahitian Teal. Oh, Tahitian Teal would be delightful, perhaps. Well, I don't know. We'll see how this all ends up looking. But yes, I had this very, very fluid and hot, the melt and pour, and poured it on, obviously, some pretty thick soap. Like, it was, I mixed it a whole lot, you guys. I did the mixy mix thing to get it pretty thick, and then I let it sit. Two things I hate doing, just so I could pour this. It's amazing. Okay, and at this point, what I did was I am actually pretty impatient. I took this mold and I put it in the freezer until the top of the melt and pour was pretty firm. Like, it was definitely firm enough to hold cold process soap at a reasonable consistency, but not so firm that the middle was actually fully melted. That was my goal. Because when you're messing with melt and pour designs, it's all about temperature and like the texture of the top, because you can do really fun things like drop swirls and stuff with melt and pour designs. But again, the top has to be firm enough to hold the majority of the soap, but still fluid enough in the middle of the melt and pour that the soap that you're putting on top of it will sort of drop inside. So this is my thinking. Also, that's an emulsion check. And look, the soap is thick because I'm soaping it cold, but we're not at emulsion because you saw it separate on the stick there. And that's how you know. Just pull out your stick and just observe it for a while. That never stops being funny. But yes, so with this, one of the cool things about doing a pour like this is, much like the pencil soaps, essentially everything can go into the heated oils themselves, right? So whatever color I'm using, the clay, all of the things before I even put the lye solution in. It's time for me to do something. Apologies. So that's actually pretty cool and nice for the, preparation and everything, and you're dirtying less dishes. But this is what I mean for that. The top is very, very firm, so it's not going to all cave in, but it is fluid enough in the middle part that I can stab holes, and therefore some of the cold process soap will hopefully go into those holes and create some interesting patterns within the glycerin itself. That said, this particular soap that I just put on top, the cold process that I put on top, it's pretty thick, and so I don't know that it's actually going to get into those holes. I could have stood to pour that thinner because I don't need to wait for that to set up for anything, and then it probably would have done a better job filling those holes. But I don't know. We're going to find out in the cut. and this guy is not going to get C-popped, and I'll talk about why in a minute. Okay, now on to the cut. Now, I did not C-pop or gel this because I didn't need to, because I don't have any colors that really would benefit from a C-pop or a gel. So I didn't do that thing. That said, I know people get a little bit concerned about whether or not they should C-pop or gel their hybrid soaps that have, glycerin in it. And yeah, this was a struggle. And shockingly, I was able to cut like 10 batches of this without breaking anything in my cutter. Oh, that's pretty. And on the 11th batch, I broke like 3 strings because I forgot to tighten my strings. Normally, a cutter like this, a multi-bar cutter like this, using, music wire, is not well suited for cutting melt and pour. And because the melt and pour is just so dense. And I don't ever care. And I, cut it with my multi-cutter anyway, because I know a guy that made the cutter, and so he can fix it if I break it. But that's really pretty. Do you see how nice that is? So the parts where I used the spatula to just kind of create little crevasses, right? And then the melt and pour went into that on the bottom. Super beautiful. And I also love the glycerin rivers, but I don't quite know why I got them. This did not get C-popped or gelled. There is no titanium dioxide in it. And the water amount that I used is the exact same water amount I use for everything. And this did have the kaolin in it. So I don't know, but I'm here for it because it does create more interest and texture to the bar. So that looks awesome. And those soaps are so freaking pretty. It definitely looks like an epoxy river pour, right? And I'm here for that. And I bet if I put like a light behind it, it would shine sort of greeny blue through it, because clear melt and pour. I don't know. So far, so good. This is one of 4 soaps in the new fall line, and I'm not going to show you all of those soaps because, it's going to be the same process basically. But I'm going to show you one more because we are going to play with actually C-popping and gelling and talk more about that, and discoloration of scents, because I said before that some of these discolor. But yeah, that's day 341, and it's super pretty. And there they are, the new geode epoxy pour things. I'll come up with a name at some point, but fun to make, like really a lot of fun to make, and actually reminded me that we haven't done enough melt and pour technique videos on this channel, because just the nature of cooling the top layer of the melt and pour down enough that it can withstand more weight and also still be stabbed to put holes in it so more stuff can go inside to create cool. It's a technique, it's a thing, and we haven't really done any of that. So I was able to show you that, in this one, and that was fun for sure. And I like the soap, absolutely. I am super in love with this. Don't quite know what I'm going to call it yet, but we'll figure it out as we go, I guess. But if you're interested in these, they're going to be on the website at some point. They're not at soapandclay.com yet, I don't think. I think I'm waiting for a couple more days before I do that thing. But they'll be up soon, for sure, with some other fun things that I've planned. But that's the first one. It's very cute, and it was a great way to use the scents that I love so very much from Sierra Candles and incorporate it into the line. For tomorrow's video, I'm going to be doing the same thing. We're going to make some adjustments to the actual pour itself, because it went very smoothly, but let's do it a different way. And also we're going to be using some other scents that I love from Sierra Candles that discolor, which is good. We're going to lean into that discoloration to create the next bar. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, become a sudser. If you don't want to, that's fine. Hello, random person existing on my YouTube. Awkward. For the sudsers, hi, you're not awkward. I'm always awkward and you're always awesome. And thank you for watching and being here and being a sudser and existing in my life. You're just awesome, not awkward. I'm going to go, though, because I have other things to do today that don't involve this. But I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.